There is knowledge so potent, it becomes a weapon. Speak it aloud, and you invite betrayal, envy, and ruin. Today, we reveal why silence is the strongest form of power, and how one careless word can destroy everything you've built. Power does not collapse from force alone. It crumbles from loose tongues. The world is filled with predators who do not attack your strength, but your confessions. They listen for weaknesses disguised as truth, for secrets shared under the illusion of trust. Tonight, we enter the shadows of human nature, where silence is not cowardice, but strategy, and where one well-guarded secret can mean the difference between survival and destruction. There is a reason kings feared their own courts more than enemy armies, because betrayal rarely comes from a stranger. It comes from the one who knows your secrets, the one who has listened closely, while pretending to care. Ask yourself, who truly benefits when you speak openly about your fears, your plans, your weaknesses? Do they protect you, or do they now possess a weapon sharper than any blade? History whispers a brutal truth. Power is not lost in battle, it is lost in conversation. Consider Julius Caesar. The man trusted Brutus, confided in him, shared visions of Rome's future. And yet, when the Senate turned to daggers, Brutus was there, striking with the knowledge only intimacy could provide. Would Caesar have been killed without betrayal from within? Perhaps. But would the betrayal have been possible without trust and talk? No, this is the predator's ear. It waits, it listens, it collects. Not with curiosity, but with hunger. Because every secret you spill, every truth you share, becomes a seed of potential ruin. Modern life is no different. You may not wear a crown, but you hold positions of influence over friends, colleagues, lovers, and where there is influence, there is envy. Where there is envy, there is betrayal. Why do people betray? Psychology offers an unflinching answer: advantage. Humans are wired to exploit opportunities. A single piece of sensitive information creates leverage, something they can use to elevate themselves or destroy you if it suits their interests. So, why do you talk? Why do you reveal what should remain hidden? Because of a dangerous illusion. The illusion of safety in closeness. You believe sharing your struggles or ambitions binds others to you. That it builds trust. That it makes you understood. But ask yourself, does revealing your weaknesses make you stronger? Or does it place your power into someone else's hands? The court of Louis XIV understood this well. In the glittering halls of Versailles, courtiers spoke in half-truths and riddles, never fully revealing where they stood or what they planned. Secrets were currency, silence was armor, and those who spoke too freely found themselves banished, or worse, destroyed, not by enemies, but by those who had smiled at their table the night before. This is not paranoia. This is realism. You live in a world where words can be recorded, twisted, taken out of context, where a single confession can be used as a threat, where ambition shared becomes ambition stolen, and the one who listened with sympathetic nods will one day use that same knowledge to undermine you. Do you think predators always reveal themselves? No. The most dangerous ones are charming. They seem loyal, attentive, trustworthy. They flatter, they disarm, and then they wait for you to speak. But here lies the deeper Machiavellian insight. The predator's ear is only as powerful as the tongue that feeds it. So learn to speak without revealing. Answer questions without exposing truths. Offer fragments, never the whole. Make your silence feel like mystery, not avoidance. Because mystery creates intrigue, and intrigue is power. People cannot strike at what they cannot see. They cannot destroy what they cannot define. Think of the spider who feels the tremor of the web. The fly reveals itself by struggling. The spider does not move until the fly has betrayed its location. Those who talk most are caught first. What, then, should you share? Nothing that can be used against you. Not your deepest fears. Not your ultimate goals. And certainly not the secrets that make you vulnerable. Instead, share only what strengthens your image, what reinforces your control, what cannot be twisted into a weapon. Remember this: the walls have ears, but more dangerously. So do the people you trust most. And when the moment comes, when envy sharpens into action, It will not be the stranger who strikes. It will be the listener, the one who knows where to cut deepest. Now, ask yourself, who has been listening to you too closely? And more importantly, what have you already given them? Because once a secret leaves your lips, it is no longer yours. But silence remains unbroken, untouchable, and utterly powerful. Power is not declared, it is implied. Those who shout their strength expose its limits. Those who speak too much invite scrutiny, but those who remain silent hold the room without effort. Why? Because silence is not emptiness. It is presence. It is the art of saying nothing, while forcing others to imagine everything. Look to history. The Borgias, the Medici, the shadowed courts of Florence, all thrived on controlled speech. Their secrets did not spill into the streets. Their intentions were whispered only to those who could not betray them, or to no one at all. And it was this restraint that kept daggers at bay. Consider a general standing before his army. If he shares every detail of his plan, every fear about the coming battle, what happens? The troops grow anxious, the enemy learns his moves, and the plan collapses before the first sword is drawn. But if the same general stands calm, silent, unreadable, his men believe he knows more than he reveals. The enemy believes he hides something far more dangerous. And both sides are controlled, not by words, but by the absence of them. This is the power of silence. It is not passive, it is active. It is a shield, yes, but also a weapon, because it forces others to fill the void with their own fears and assumptions. Psychology calls this projection. When people lack information, they create it. They imagine what you might be thinking, planning, or hiding. And often, they imagine something far greater than reality. Your silence magnifies your presence beyond the truth. Have you ever noticed how a person who speaks less in a group often commands more attention? Not because of what they say, but because of what they don't. Every word becomes measured, every glance calculated. Their mystery creates gravity. Contrast this with the one who talks endlessly, explaining, justifying, revealing. The more they speak, the smaller they seem. The more details they offer, the less powerful they appear. Why? Because information, once given, can be dissected, questioned, and doubted. But silence cannot be challenged. Louis XIV, the Sun King of France, mastered this art. He would listen patiently to his ministers, his courtiers, his rivals, never rushing to speak. His pauses were long, deliberate, unsettling. In those moments of silence, others revealed themselves. Their intentions, their weaknesses, their ambitions, all laid bare. And Louis, he learned everything, while saying almost nothing. This is your shield. When you speak less, you reveal less. When you reveal less, you deny others the ammunition they crave. But the power of silence goes deeper still. It is not just about what you protect. It is about what you project. People are drawn to mystery. They assume the silent one knows more, that they have secrets worth guarding, that they possess strength hidden behind their calm. And in this way, silence becomes not merely defense, but dominance. Imagine two negotiators across a table. One speaks endlessly, explaining his position, his hopes, his fears. The other listens, nods, offers only measured words. Who holds the power? Who controls the rhythm of the exchange? Not the talker, the listener, the one who lets silence do the heavy lifting. Now ask yourself, how often do you betray yourself with needless words? How often do you speak to fill the air, rather than to secure an advantage? And how often has someone learned too much about you simply because you feared the weight of saying nothing? Remember this, every word is a gamble. But silence is a fortress, yet there is danger here too. For silence, mishandled, can appear as weakness. The key is controlled silence, confident, deliberate, unnerving, not the silence of fear, but the silence of one who knows more than they say. And when mastered, it shields you from attacks you will never see coming. Because they will not know where to strike. They will not know what you hold. They will not even know if you hold anything at all. But what if silence isn't enough? What if secrets themselves become currency? And you must decide what to give and what to guard. Power is not only measured in gold, land, or armies. It is measured in information. In every court, in every empire, in every corporation of today, secrets are currency. They are traded, hoarded, and spent to gain influence. And like any currency, once you waste it, it is gone forever. But unlike gold, secrets increase in value the longer they remain hidden, and they lose their worth the moment they are freely given. Ask yourself, how much of your life, your plans, your inner world do you give away for free? How many times have you traded valuable truths for nothing but the illusion of connection? And how often has that generosity been turned against you? The Medici family knew this well. They built their dynasty not only on banking wealth, but on information. They controlled Florence not merely with money, but with knowledge of debts, affairs, and betrayals. Each secret they held was leverage. Each whisper in their possession, an investment. But here is the truth most refuse to face. When you share what you know carelessly, you devalue yourself. You strip away the mystery that makes others respect or fear you. And you feed the hunger of those who see you as nothing more than an opportunity. Psychology confirms it. People place greater value on what they cannot easily obtain. This is known as scarcity bias. The less accessible your knowledge, the more precious it appears, and the more people are willing to offer in exchange for it. Yet most speak too freely. They reveal everything, motivations, weaknesses, desires, without ever asking, what am I gaining in return? What advantage does this disclosure bring me? And what risk does it create? Imagine a chessboard. Your secrets are your pieces. Each one represents a move, an opening, a counter, a trap. If you reveal your strategy before the game begins, what happens? Your opponent counters every step. Your victory evaporates before the first pawn moves forward. The wise know better. They reveal only what serves a purpose, a calculated disclosure to gain trust, to test loyalty, or to manipulate perception. Never the whole truth. Never for free. Consider the court of Elizabeth I of England. Her reign was a theater of half-truths. Rumors of marriage alliances, foreign loyalties, and secret deals were carefully leaked, not as facts, but as tools. Every whisper misdirected enemies, kept allies guessing, and maintained her image as a queen always 2 steps ahead. Her secrets were not gifts, they were investments, spent only where the return was power. So, how do you apply this in your own life? First, recognize the value of what you know. Your fears, your ambitions, your strategies, these are not casual topics, they are assets, and assets must be protected, measured, and traded with precision. Second, understand the marketplace. Not everyone deserves your information. Not everyone has earned the privilege of knowing you deeply. Reserve your truths for those moments when their revelation will gain you leverage or secure your position. Third, master the art of partial disclosure. Give fragments, hints, just enough to intrigue, just enough to lead others where you want them to go, but never enough to leave you vulnerable. Because the moment someone knows everything about you, they control the game, and you become predictable, expendable. But what happens when someone tries to force your secrets from you? When pressure, seduction, or manipulation is used to pry open your defenses? Then you must know the difference between yielding strategically and yielding fatally. Because there are times when a secret, carefully given, can earn you trust or buy you time. And there are times when a single revelation will destroy you completely. The marketplace of secrets is ruthless, and the price of a mistake is often higher than you can afford. Which leads to the next question. What makes people give away too much? Why do they confess, even when silence could save them? People are told that honesty will set them free. But history tells us honesty often leads to ruin. Why? Because emotions are weapons waiting to be turned against you. And the more you reveal them, the more vulnerable you become. Consider a court where rivals smile while plotting your downfall. Would you tell them of your fears, your doubts, your secret longing to be understood? If you did, they would not comfort you. They would calculate where to strike. This is the trap of emotional honesty, believing that revealing your inner world makes you safe, when in truth, it makes you exposed. Humans crave connection. Psychology tells us that the urge to confess, to share our pain, our struggles, our desires, is rooted in a primal need for belonging. But belonging is not always safety, and trust is not always loyalty. Look to the downfall of Anne Boleyn. She believed her charm and openness had secured her place beside King Henry V. But her candid words, her sharp wit, her expressions of fear and insecurity were used as evidence against her. Her own tongue became the noose. Her emotions, her greatest liability. The lesson is clear. Power and unrestrained honesty do not coexist. One must always be sacrificed for the other. Ask yourself, how often have you revealed more than you should? How often have you confessed under the illusion of safety, only to feel that information used against you later? It might not be as dramatic as a royal execution, but in modern life, the betrayals are quieter and just as destructive. A co-worker uses your venting session to question your competence. A friend subtly resents your ambition after you reveal how much you want success. A lover withdraws respect because your vulnerabilities no longer inspire strength, but pity. Harsh. Yes, but this is the nature of human perception. Once your emotions are displayed openly, you are no longer a figure of mystery, strength, or command. You become ordinary, predictable, and predictability is fatal in the game of influence. Renaissance courts understood this instinctively. A true statesman might smile warmly, appear open, even seem to share his thoughts freely. But the words were chosen with precision. Every confession a half-truth, every vulnerability rehearsed, not because he was cold, but because he understood that power requires emotional discipline. Psychology calls this impression management, the ability to control how others perceive you by controlling what you reveal. It is not deception, it is survival. But what of intimacy? What of trust? Are we to live with masks, forever hiding our inner selves? Not entirely. But you must ask, who truly deserves your honesty? Few do. Fewer still can be trusted to handle it without turning it into leverage. The solution is simple, though difficult. Learn to distinguish between emotional expression and emotional exposure. Expression can be controlled. It shows just enough humanity to connect, without surrendering power. Exposure, however, leaves you naked in a world of sharp knives. Think of a skilled negotiator. They may show hints of emotion, surprise, hesitation, even mild vulnerability, to guide perception, but every flicker of feeling is deliberate, calculated, and controlled, never raw, never reckless. Contrast this with the one who breaks under pressure, pouring out every fear, every doubt, every unfiltered thought. What happens next? The terms change. The balance of power shifts. The listener now knows exactly where to press, and how hard. This is the trap. Emotional honesty feels like strength in the moment, but becomes a liability the moment someone realizes they can use it, and once used, it cannot be reclaimed. A secret spoken can never be unsaid. A weakness displayed can never be unseen. So, how do you speak with emotion yet remain untouchable? How do you appear open, yet reveal nothing that can be used to wound you? Silence is power, but controlled revelation, that is influence. The most dangerous man is not the one who says nothing. It is the one who knows when to speak, how much to reveal, and to whom. Because a well-timed disclosure is not weakness. It is bait. History proves this. Consider Otto von Bismarck, the master statesman of 19th century Europe. He never exposed his entire vision for Germany. Instead, he released fragments, statements that misled rivals, reassured allies, and stirred just enough uncertainty to keep his enemies guessing. His partial truths shaped nations. His silences held power, but his chosen words moved empires. This is strategic revelation, the art of revealing not to confess, but to control. Ask yourself, when you speak, do you do so to express or to influence? Do your words serve a purpose, or do they serve your emotions? Because the first strengthens your position, the second weakens it. Consider the court intrigues of Renaissance Florence. Merchants, nobles, and courtiers exchanged secrets like merchants traded gold, but no one ever gave away the whole sum. A whisper here, a clue there, just enough to test loyalty, to gauge reactions, to manipulate perception. Never enough to leave themselves vulnerable. Psychology calls this calibrated disclosure, the controlled release of information to shape how others see you, while ensuring they never truly see you. Why does it work? Because people crave certainty. They hunger to know what you think, what you plan, what you desire. When you offer fragments, they rush to fill the gaps. And in their guessing, they reveal more about themselves than you ever reveal about you. But beware, there is danger in both extremes. Reveal nothing and you risk isolation. Reveal too much and you invite exploitation. The power lies in balance, in offering just enough to intrigue while concealing what truly matters. Think of a skilled interrogator. They do not demand every detail at once. They ask questions that lead, prod, and test. Likewise, the strategist reveals in layers, a hint of vulnerability, not the real wound, a glimpse of intent, not the entire plan. This technique works everywhere, in negotiations, relationships, politics, and power struggles. In a negotiation, a small confession of limitation may win sympathy, or lower expectations, while concealing your true strength. In a relationship, a measured display of emotion can deepen connection, while keeping your deepest fears untouched. In politics, a vague statement of principle can unite factions, while hiding the ruthless strategy behind it. The key is to make every word serve a purpose. Never speak to satisfy curiosity. Speak to shape perception. Speak to guide the thoughts of others toward conclusions you desire, without ever stating them outright. This is not deception. This is design. And yet, most fail. Why? Because they speak to relieve tension. Because silence feels heavy and words feel light. But the strategist knows every word is an arrow. Once fired, it cannot return. So, how do you master strategic revelation? First, know what must never be spoken. Your true fears, your ultimate ambitions, your critical vulnerabilities. These are the foundations of your power. They remain locked away. Second, determine what can be revealed for effect. A small flaw, carefully chosen, makes you appear human, yet not weak. A partial goal, vaguely described, inspires curiosity, yet reveals nothing vital. Third, choose the moment. A revelation delivered too soon loses power. Too late, and it loses impact. But at the precise moment when others seek certainty, offer them just enough to believe they have found it. They will not question further. History rewards those who understand this. The Medici used it to keep rivals loyal. Bismarck used it to unite a fractured empire. Even modern leaders use it, projecting confidence while revealing only fragments of their true plans. The result: they control not only the narrative, but the imagination of those around them. And when imagination is controlled, so is power. But one question remains. What do you do when others see through your veil? When someone senses you are holding back and dares to push for more? In the final reflection, we explore the razor's edge between secrecy and exposure, and how to maintain control when the world demands you speak. Power is rarely taken by force. It is taken through perception, through what is seen, what is hidden, and what is carefully revealed. The fool speaks freely. The wise speak sparingly, but the strategist, he decides not only what to say, but why to say it. Because control is not about chains or commands. It is about guiding thought without appearing to guide it. It is about making others believe they act freely, while walking exactly where you want them to go. Ask yourself, how many times have you been steered by a word, a glance, a pause? And how often have you unknowingly done the same to others? This is the essence of quiet power, subtle, sharp, and nearly invisible. The kind that builds empires and destroys rivals without a single blow. Now speak. Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more strategies of influence. And share this video so others may learn the art of unseen control before it is used against them.